All right, let's jump right in. We're going to unpack a really powerful story today. It's about a life or death challenge for a prize you can barely imagine. And it really makes you think, what's the real meaning of wealth, of sacrifice, of paradise?
So let's just drop right into the climax. Another 15 mins I will land over the door to hell. I mean, wow. We're starting at the absolute breaking point. These are the words of our protagonist, just moments away from either complete collapse or this incredible victory. You can just feel the desperation, right? The finish line is so close. But to him, it doesn't feel like paradise. It feels like the door to hell. So what on earth is going on?
And this is the thought just screaming in his head. Why did I agree? You can almost taste the regret. He's smack in the middle of this agonizing challenge, some deal he made that's now pushing him to the absolute edge. And it makes you wonder, right? What kind of prize, what kind of promise could possibly be worth this much pain?
Okay, so this brings us to our first part. We're calling it the final 15 minutes. We're going to break down this countdown where seriously every single second feels like it carries the weight of a lifetime. This timeline here really shows you how things just ramp up. So we start with 15 minutes left. That's the final leg of the whole challenge. But check this out. Just 5 minutes later, at the 10-minute mark, something as simple as thirst becomes this unbearable agony. And it all builds to these final moments where the stakes are, well, they couldn't be higher. It's either paradise or hell.
So, this is where the real battle is. It's not even just about the physical pain anymore, it's all in his head. That temptation to just stop, to just give up and end the suffering, it's gotta be overwhelming. This is the ultimate test of his will, for sure.
So why does he keep going? To get that, we have to look at what's really on the line. Which brings us to our next section, the dream versus despair. It's this huge clash between an amazing dream and a pretty desperate reality.
And yeah, this really lays it all out, doesn't it? Look at the alternative. On the one hand, go back to a life of complete poverty, to die a rag picker. But then you look at the prize. Fulfill your dream, get a ton of money, get to live rich, even if it's just for one day. I mean, the choice here could not be more black and white.
But here's the crazy thing. In his mind, either way, it's hell. The physical torture of this challenge, that's one kind of hell. But the idea of going back to his old life, that's a whole other kind of hell. So he's basically trapped between a rock and a hard place, and he has to decide which hell is worth enduring.
Okay, so something's got to change, right? And this is it. This is the turning point of the whole story. Let's call it the unbreakable vow. This is the moment our guy stops questioning everything and starts believing. He starts forging that inner strength he desperately needs to finish this thing. And it all starts with these two simple words, I will. That's the first step. It's not a question anymore, it's a statement. It's a commitment. He's making that conscious choice to keep going no matter what it takes. And then he builds on it. The mantra gets stronger. It goes from a choice, I will, to an absolute necessity, I have to. At this point, the alternative is just so horrible that quitting isn't even an option anymore. It's not something he wants to do, it's something he has to do. And then comes the final, crucial part of this whole thing. And I can hold on to my chips. So you've got, I will, I have to, and now I can. This is just pure self-belief kicking in. He's telling himself, I have the strength to do this. And right there, in his own mind, he's already won the biggest battle.
So, okay, we know he found the will to keep going. He was chasing this idea of paradise. But what he actually found at the finish line? Not what you'd expect, at all. This is where the story takes a really fascinating turn.
And here it is, the big twist. Paradise, it wasn't the money. It wasn't some fancy place. It was a state of mind. The real prize was owning, with pride, that never-give-up attitude that got him through the whole thing in the first place. He basically forged something inside himself that's totally priceless.
And yep, the story confirms it. He did it. He ascended to paradise a day later. He succeeded. He won. But that leaves us with the million-dollar question, right? Or the loads of money question. What happened to all that cash he suffered so much to get?
Well, get this. This is just incredible. After going through hell and back to win it all, he just left it. He gave the entire prize, all of it, to the slum dwellers. And he did it for one simple, powerful reason, hoping that no kid would ever have to die of starvation. A fate that, he understood better than anyone.
I mean, that final act just completely changes what victory even means here. Which brings us to our final section, a rich legacy. This was never about getting rich himself. It was about creating something that would last way beyond him. This is where we see what being truly wealthy is all about.
So his personal struggle, his sacrifice, it became a lifeline for his whole community. He didn't just give them money, he gave them hope. The story says his act became a boon to his people, a real blessing that would ripple out and change who knows how many lives. So that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. He found his paradise by building this unbreakable will inside himself, and then he used the prize to build a legacy of hope for others. It really makes you think, what was his real treasure? Was it the strength he found within himself, or was it the legacy he left behind?